Good morning. Good morning. Ragini, I've sent your message to the team. Don't worry, we'll get it sorted. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Varshuram, we did Bengal partition, political extremism, 1909 Act, separate electorates, and we covered the formation of the INC, safety valve theory. You have to go through the recorded class because too many small topics have been covered. INC's formation, the concept of its formation, why did the formation happen, what is economic nationalism, over and above that, the concept of uh, how it leads to moderate politics into extremist politics into then Swadeshi. So we have to discuss a new type. This is something which I introduced yesterday also. This is called extremism, the other part. That was called political extremism. This is called revolutionary activities. This is the second type of extremism which was there. Lal Bal Pal being the first one. So that is basically what we've covered. We have to discuss revolutionary activities today. Then 1909 already covered. So we'll move directly to Advent of Gandhi. Once we're done with Advent of Gandhi, we will go to Home Rule. Then we will go to Rowlett plus Jallianwala Bagh. From there, we will go to non-cooperation, Chauri Chaura. In between, we have to do a very important act, which is called Government of India Act, 1919. Very, very important. Which is called Montagu-Chelmsford Reforms. Another small set of issues. In all of this, we go from 10 to 1, then 2 to 5 p.m., then 5:30 to 8 p.m. A, B, C. Political extremism and this extremism that believes in constitutional struggle, that believes in going to the using the INC as a form of means of change. They want to do individual activities. We wait 1 more minute and then we start. I will make the timeline again. Already yesterday. Good morning. Good morning. Okay. More or less, Apurva. More or less. For example, I've reached in evening batch till Jallianwala Bagh, but I will go with you till non-cooperation Chauri Chora. Because they reach till, for example, uh, extremists and what we call as Surat split last week only. So it's 1 hour, 1 hour up down. That's totally on where I want to leave them, because if I started NCM, then Chauri Chora would not have been completed. So I stopped there. As I said, I cannot tell. What has been taught yesterday is from moderates till Surat split and the 1909 Government of India Act. There are too many small topics to be covered in one small brief, as you're saying. Cannot be done in brief because multiple small topics were there. Okay. So as yesterday I did it, we have to cover now. We had covered one part of the timeline. No, you should just watch the recorded video. You will get an idea. No real connection with what we are doing today. These are standalone topics. Revolutionary extremists, both prelims and mains type of questions about ideas. First, let me teach you that, and then you will understand it. But more a prelims type of question is going to be expected from here. Is there any moderate come under extremist? There's more or less, they live by it till the end. They live by it till the end. Most of the moderates remain moderates till the end. Okay. After 1904, you have Abhinav Bharat. Then Fraser's 1908. 1909. Parliamentary reforms we have covered already. Is already done. You have A.M.T. Jackson assassination. And last but not the least, Cousin Willie assassination in London by Madan Hardingra. This is called Harding bombing. Other movement, Kamagatu Maru incident. And this is the first thing which we covered today. This is the first thing which we covered. This is called revolutionary activities. Part 1. Bombay, Bengal, Bombay, Bengal, Bombay, Delhi, USA, Canada, San Francisco. Okay. So this is the basic agenda. I had given you this yesterday also. I made it again because there should be this continuity from yesterday also. And Morley Minto reforms is something which I've already done with you, which is the Indian Council Act 1909. Separate electorates being the most important concept introduced. Now today we start our second story, which is Bengal. Can I start? We will discuss Bengal, then we will discuss Bombay, then we will discuss Delhi, and then we'll discuss revolutionary activities abroad. Okay. Now, when we talk about Bengal, the Anushilan Samiti was an organization which emerged in 1902 in Midnapur, in two places together, Midnapur and Calcutta, and it is Anushilan Samiti, which is going to become very, very important for spreading nationalism in the pre-Swadeshi movement period. And this will be established by a person called Pramod Mittar, Birendra Kumar Ghosh, and the fact was that these two people together were important in creating Anusilan. But the problem of Anusilan Samiti was that it was more about moral and physical training of the youth, and they are not fully revolutionary. And that is why by 1906, within the Anusilan itself, now emerges what is called the Yugantar group, named after the weekly which they used to publish. Yugantar group had three very important personalities. Birendra Kumar Ghosh, Aurobindo Ghosh, what are called the Ghosh brothers, and Bhupendra Nath Datta. You have to remember these names. Bhupendra Nath Datta. Together, they are the spearhead of the Yugantar group. And the Yugantar group, which lies within, this comes in 1902, this comes in 1906. It believes in assassinations, sending a message to the English. And you can see that their existence coincides with the partition of Bengal and Swadeshi. And therefore, their first two targets in that regard were two people associated with Bengal. One is Fuller, who was the Lieutenant Governor of Eastern Bengal. And then you have a person called Fraser. Fraser, who's the Lieutenant Governor of Western Bengal. Though Fuller had resigned, he was seen as a symbol of problematic existence. And therefore, there will be an attempt to kill Fuller, but it will fail. And there will also be an attempt to derail the train with Fraser on it, but will again fail. So in 1907, both attempts which they have fail. But their agenda was very straight. We will make sure that we send a message to the British. And these two, this is first, this is second, are two attempts of the Anushilan Samiti or Yugantar group to do something to send a message. Now, they were so frustrated that in 1908, now they will target a person called Kingsford. He is a sadistic judge of the Muzaffarpur sector, and in Muzaffarpur in Bihar today, it was seen that he would be traveling along a road. The information which was given to them was that he would be traveling along a road, what is called the Manik Tola road, and they wanted to target him. Now the point is, Prafulla Chakki and Khudiram Bose will throw a bomb on Kingsford's carriage, but the problem was that the carriage in which they were throwing the bomb on did not have Kingsford. Kingsford was not there, but two English ladies. And therefore, these two women will die. They will die. And now this will become the sensational case of what is called as Alipur conspiracy case. And the point was that as soon as Birendra Kumar Datta and Aurobindo Ghosh, Birendra Kumar Ghosh and Aurobindo Ghosh they were successful in planning the Kingsford assassination, the whole Yugantar group will get arrested on this street, which is called Manik Tola. It is the Alipur conspiracy case. This is the FIR descriptive role of Aurobindo Ghosh himself. These people, together called the Yugantar group, the revolutionaries who martyred themselves for our freedom, they will get arrested. And the fact is that the British will crush the Anushilan Samiti after Alipur case. And we have the privilege to acknowledge their contribution to the Indian national movement. But by sending that or by throwing that bomb, they had now sent a message to the British that they were not safe in India. Now keep these things in mind, because you know that the Morley Minto reforms are going to come. So with the Morley Minto reforms going to be coming in 1909, in 1908, the Alipur conspiracy case becomes a sensational case in the context of all of the what we call as the larger story of nationalism at this point of time. So the point is very, very simple, that Anusilan will very simply get crushed after this Kingsford assassination, and the story of revolutionary activities in Bengal will go down with the arrest of the Anusilan and the Yugantar. So when we talk about Yugantar and Anusilan in that regard, you just have to remember the following. For Bengal, you have to remember the following things. First is, you have to remember Furrer, Fraser, Kingsford, and you have to remember Bhupendranath Datta, Aurobindo Ghosh, and Virendra Kumar Ghosh. And Alipur conspiracy case. These two were failed. In this, two women die. Can we remember this much? Can you remember this much? Yes? Because this can be asked in the examination. Yes? Okay. So now we go to Bombay. Now in Bombay, Bal Gangadhar Tilak, through his Kesari, through his two newspapers, Tilak, through his newspapers Kesari and Maratha, and the Ganpati's festival and Shivaji festival, he had started to argue about it will be Bombay, not Mumbai. Mumbai is after independence. Priya, people tend to confuse, both are different, but online it will say both are same, but they're different. Tilak will inspire the youth, and the first assassination of any officer in India was done by the Chapekar brothers in 1897, and his name was Rand. Rand was a plague commissioner. He was a very bad plague commissioner. Did not plague is the rat infested based or rat spread based what we call as a pandemic or a disease. And Rand was the plague commissioner, and he was not a very good one at it. So he was successfully assassinated. So you can see that even before Anushilhan and Yugantar came into existence, the Bombay group, the Tilak inspired group, Chapekar brothers had already created a major wave of nationalism vis-a-vis how they did it to Rand. Thereafter, in 1899 and later by 1904, the Savarkar brothers will organize what is called as the Mitra Mela, which will be renamed as the Abhinav Bharat. As the Abhinav Bharat. And their concept was that we want to spread nationalism in the youth, and more than that, it was about assassinations as a way of sending a message. So their most important contribution is in 1908. They will rather in 1908 not 8 but 9, in the same year the Morley Minto reforms are going to introduce. They will kill a person called AMT Jackson, who was the DM of Nasik. He was again a very sadistic, very sadistic DM. He will be successfully assassinated. But again, the story is going to be the same. As soon as there will be assassinations, Abhinav Bharat will be arrested and the organization will be crushed. So both have their own moments, and thereafter they automatically die out. So if they ask you the chronological order, it is Fuller, Fraser, Kingsford, Rand, and Jackson. AMT Jackson. This is the chronological order of the assassinations. This is 1897. These are two are 1907, 1908, 1909. They can sprinkle this around somewhere in the examination. AMT is his larger name. And remember that when you go in this chronology, Rand and AMT Jackson are Bombay, Fraser Fuller and Kingsford are in in Bengal, or what we call as Anushilhan and Yugantar based. So this is the first thing which you need to know, which is this chronology. The very standard question which comes. There's a very standard question which comes. This is Bombay, and this is Bengal. If we are clear about this, we can then talk about the story of Punjab. Punjab was very straightforward. Lala Lajpat Rai, Ajit Singh, the uncle of Bhagat Singh, organized an organization. But the British were already very clear about what they wanted from this sector. So Punjab, it never took off. Rather, they went to USA, which we'll discuss. Other than that, Bombay Bengal story, if you can remember this, Anushilan, Yugantar, Mitra Mela, and Abhinav Bharat, half of the work is done. What I will do thereafter is I will then just read the story out to you, because then I want to go to Delhi. For Delhi, I have to give you a little bit of context. Are we clear about this? Yes, no, have to say something. Yes, okay. So let's read this story out then. After 1870s, new dynamism was already there in Bengal. 1902 in Midnapur and in Calcutta, the Anushilin Samiti will be formed by Pramod Mittar, Birendra Kumar Ghosh, and a person called Jatindranath Banerjee. But their activities were just giving physical and moral training to the youth. Thereafter, within the Yuga, within the Anushilin, by April 1906, Birendra Kumar Ghosh, Bhupendranath Datta, and Aurobindo Ghosh will now start a newspaper weekly called Yugantar, and they will now start to talk about revolutionary violence. And therefore, they said that the remedy lies with the people. If 30 crore people inhabiting India must raise their hands, 60 crore hands to stop the curse of oppression. Force must be stopped by force. It's a very important idea that violence can only be stopped by violence. Now, their attempts will be paralleled by a person called Abhi. I'll talk about these two, Raj Bihari Bose and Sachin Sanyal, who are doing something across Delhi, United Province. We'll talk about that. But they will have one attempt in on Sir Fuller, Lieutenant Governor of Eastern Bengal. Though he had resigned, he was the target, was not able to do it. In December, they tried to derail Andrew Fraser's train. That was also not possible. Thereafter, Prafulla Chakki and Khudiram Bose will throw on Kingsford carriage a bomb. However, two women died, not Kingsford, and both of them martyred later. The point of the matter is this is called Alipur conspiracy case. Everybody is going to get arrested in the Manik Tola bomb conspiracy, and the Anushilin will end with this. Now, now, at the same point of time in 1908, there was an attempt by the Dhaka, which is the Eastern Bengal Anushilin, to do some revolutionary activity that will not be possible. We'll talk about bomb. We'll talk about the Raspberry Bose one later. Then Ramosi peasant force under Vasudev Balwant Phadke is considered the first revolutionary activity, but because it's a peasant movement, we don't call it. It will be the writings on in the Kesari and the Maratha and the Ganpati and the Shivaji festival, which will then make two brothers, Damodar and Balkrishna Chapekar, to go and killed Rand and one of his lieutenants erst in 1897. Thereafter, Savarkar brothers will organize the Mitra Mela that will become the Abhinav Bharat later by 1904. And in Nasik, Pune, and Bombay, they will have bomb factories. In 1909, they will kill AMT Jackson, the collector of Nasik, and the person was Anant Lakshman Kanhare, and that will in turn lead to all 38 people of the Abhinav Bharat getting arrested, and this will basically kill the movement itself. In on the other side of the story, in Punjab, there will be Lal Lajpat Rai and his Punjabi, along with Ajit Singh and his Anjuman-e-Moshban-e Watan and his journal Bharat Mata in Lahore, which will try to spread the message. But the British at this point of time had understood the pattern, and by 1907 they had crushed and deported Lal Lajpat Rai and Ajit Singh both, and the other associates of Ajit Singh. Remember this name Lala Hardayal will basically travel outside India, and Lala Hardayal is going to become very significant very soon. Now, when we talk about revolutionary activities in India, we have these two organizations in Bengal, these two organizations in Bombay. This is the basic story, and we have discussed the names of. You have Damodar and Balkrishna Chapekar. Prafulla Chakki, and Khudiram Bose. Aurobindo and Birendra Kumar Ghosh. Anant Lakshman Kanhare and Bhupendranath Datta. I think these two are associated with Rand, Khudiram Bose, and they are associated with Kingsford. These two, along with him, are connected to Anushilan Yugantar, and Anant Anant Lakshman Kanhare is related to Jackson. Right. If you can remember the things which have been written on this slide, you can remember most of, or your job is done with regards to revolutionary activities in India, except for one, which is the sixth one, which is called Hardin bombing, which I need to discuss with you and make you understand what it is. For that, I need a little bit of context on the Darbar concept. Can we close these three? In India, three: Punjab, Bombay, Bengal. All three done. Please have to tell me. If not, then I move forward. This is a very simple, straightforward section. We have to go to first Delhi, then to San Francisco, Komagatamaro, and then the Gadar movement. It's a bit confusing with names. There's no confusion with names. You just remember the names and remember they are in the first phase of revolutionary activities between 1897 to 1909, or don't even take 1909. Take it as 1915. There are no extraordinary names here. Total number of names is not more than 10. So you can remember it. You just need to revise it. It's a very simple, straightforward section. Yes, it is a very, very important prelims area. Prelims area, I will show you a question also. You will realize it why it is important. Can we move forward? Are we all clear? Yes? Okay. Okay. Now, now the British had one major understanding, and that is called the Darbars. Darbars. Three of them happened in India: 1877, 1903, and 1911. These two in Calcutta, and this was in Delhi. Now, the concept of Darbar is very straightforward. The concept is that the king or queen of the British Empire come to India and meet their subjects after coronation as emperor or empress of India. Meaning that they had a very elaborate ceremony in which they used to basically show to the Indians that we are the new emperor and empress of India. So it's basically like a proper 26 January type event in which the British crown used to always come to India. Queen Victoria came, and it is under that she got the title of Empress of India. So Victoria was the first one to come in 1877. And this was just a way of showing to all rulers and princely states who was paramount power. Because in India, one third of India still does not come under the British. They are under what are called as Princely states. Princely states are basically areas which were not annexed after 1857, but the British rather chose to just take away their external freedom, give them internal freedom, and let them be the way they are. And therefore, the darbars were a way of bringing these princely states. Their king used to come and show their loyalty to the king, and it's a very Mughalish type tradition. Mughals used to also have darbars, and in that darbar, all Rajput kings used to come and show loyalty. Same way, the darbar was done two times before this period, and the 1911 one was very significant. The 1911 darbar was very significant because three decisions were taken which were very important. King George V had now become the emperor of the world and emperor of British Empire, emperor of India. But there was a shift of capital from Calcutta to Delhi. Calcutta had become a major nuisance for the British, with multiple assassinations also happening. And what they will do is that they will annul, basically stop the partition of Bengal, which they had done in 1905. Rather, what they will do is that they'll keep one Bengal and rather remove Bihar and Orissa from it. So they changed the pattern of division by making one Bengal, and Bihar, Orissa was removed. The reason was that Bengal had now was too explosive, and the fact of the matter was moving out of Bengal was very important. And moving to Delhi and having the Darbar in Delhi also has significance because now it happens in the Red Fort. So now the British are again trying to change their orientation by trying to show that they are like the Mughals, because the Mughal seat of power was Delhi. So you get these images from the Delhi Darbar which show the spectacle of the British Empire in India. And King George V and his wife both were in a way in display also, but all princely states came and showed their allegiance to the emperor. This is a spectacle in itself. This is a spectacle in itself. This is the pattern on which the 26th January also happens, but with a different purpose altogether. But the Delhi Darbar in that regard is considered to be a major moment in British history, because the British, after making it in their power in 1772, they were moving out of Calcutta and moving to Delhi. This is in a way also the triumph of nationalism, because nationalism had made their existence in Bengal too problematic. And if you go back to Calcutta, it will go to 1698 when Calcutta was created. So you can see for close to 200 years after staying in Calcutta itself, they are, or rather 100 years to be precise, they were now moving out of Calcutta. Now, this spectacle, everybody, I hope, understands. You understand the concept of Delhi Darbar. You also understand the concept. This is a real picture, not an animation. This is a real picture taken. All pictures I've shown you till this point are real pictures taken of the Delhi Darbar. This is the Delhi Darbar for you. Are we clear about this Delhi Darbar? What is the concept of Darbar? Are we clear about what is the concept of Darbar? What is the concept? What is the significance? What is the idea behind it? Why do they do it? Are we clear about this? Yes, sir. Okay, perfect. Now, Delhi Darbar was a very gross or very problematic way of showing to the British, or a very vulgar display of power by the British itself. Shift of capital to Delhi is Darbar concept. No, Darbars happened three times: 1877, in 1903, 1911. Two happened in Calcutta, one in Delhi. Delhi Darbar is important because the capital shifts to Delhi. It used to always happen in the capital. Concept of Darbar is just to show that who is the real power, and the emperor and the empress coming and meeting her subject. It's a way of subjugating. So why did they want to portray Bengal? Because nationalism is becoming too much. So they need to mask it in a way. They need to mask it in a way so that masking is going to happen in that way. Bengal and not getting, previously it was divided like this: Bengal, Bihar, Orissa was there, and Western Bengal was there, Eastern Bengal was there. Now they did one thing, that they made it one Bengal. They brought these two units together and they removed Bihar and Orissa from it. That's the basic point. So it's either way trying to divide Bengal, but now not on the lines on which they wanted to, and they've now annulled the partition of Bengal also. Are we clear, Aniket? Now all Bengalis are together. Hindi and Odia speaking are different. That's it. Are we clear? Okay. Now 1911, the Darbar happens. Now two men did not like it. East Bengal will not be there, right? East and West Bengal will come together. Bihar, Orissa will be taken out. Now two men did not like it. They fulfilled their purpose, then merged them it. Yes, that is the point. Yes, Akash. They fulfilled their purpose of understanding communalism and then just did the other way around of it, opposite of it. 1911, now the Darbar has happened, but two people don't like it. Two people, two revolutionaries said that this is a very gross, vulgar display of power. Their name, Rash Bihari Bose. Remember, Rash Bihari Bose, not Ghosh. Ghosh is a moderate. Bihari Bose and Sachin Sanyal. Sachin Sanyal and Raj Bihari Bose saw the Delhi Darbar as a very, very vulgar display of power. So they said that why are we assassinating random people? For example, Kingsford, Rand, this and that. Let's do one thing. Let's assassinate Harding only. Harding, who's the viceroy. If you really want to send a message by killing Harding. And the concept was that Harding had planned a very beautiful way of inaugurating the Delhi sector. He was going to walk out, or he was going to come on an elephant out of the Red Fort and go down the streets of Chandni Chowk, and he was then going to meet the people there. So Raj Bihari Bose and Sachin Salyan, so let's do one thing. Let's throw a bomb on him after he enters Chandni Chowk. After he entered Chandni Chowk. Now Harding and his wife were sitting on an elephant, and a bomb will be thrown. But unfortunately, the Mahant will be killed, and these two will only get injured. But the Harding bombing in that regard is considered till today a very, very big daring act done by any revolutionary in India. And till today is considered the single-handed reason why the CID, which is the CBI predecessor, the CID was established, because they wanted to send a message by assassinating the viceroy, and there was no intelligence about this. And after investigations in the Delhi conspiracy case, or trial as it is called, Baswant Kumar Biswas, Amir Chand, and Awadh Bihari, the three people who were actively present there to throw the bomb, while Sachin Sanyal and Raj Bihari Bose were also in the crowd but far away. The fact was they will be convicted and martyred for the act of throwing the bomb on Harding. Now the British will realize the need for an intelligence department, central intelligence department, to know what is happening. But the most important thing is, Raj Bihari Bose was there in person, but he will flee to Dehradun, and from Dehradun he will go to Japan, because he wanted to make sure that he does not remain in India for very long. So very simply, when we talk about the Indian leg of revolutionary activities, we have three basic ideas. One is the 1907, 1908, 1909, and 1912. This is revolutionaries in India. After this, I give you a break and we go to revolutionaries abroad. Revolutionaries in India. Here, revolutionary in India, 1907, we have Fuller, Fraser. 1897 was Rand. This is Kingsford. This is what the name of this person is, Jackson. And this is called Harding bombing. This is called Alipur conspiracy case. And the Harding bombing is called Delhi conspiracy case. Moderate doing at this point of time, they are happy to sit in their INC. And INC is still divided. So, this is called revolutionaries in India. I have given you the name of the organizations. Bhagat Singh has nothing to do with this. Bhagat Singh is 1930, not this. So you know one name, but you should know that he's second phase, not first phase. Between 1897 to 1912, with Anusilan Yugantar Abhinav Bharat Mitra Mela, and the people I told you the name of. This is basically the first phase of revolutionaries in India. Because if this is clear, we take a break, come back, and then start revolutionaries abroad, where I have to discuss three people, then Gadar movement, and then we can finish this area itself. Rand to Harding is first phase. Abhinav Bharat, as I told you, started as Mitra Mela under Savarkar brothers. They will be responsible for Jackson murder. They will all get crushed after that. Are we clear about this first phase? Yes. So I can add on this slide. I can add on this slide. 1 second. The sixth is called Harding's bombing. 1912. Yes. This is only prelims oriented. More or less out of this, you will get prelims questions only. Factual area, but interesting area. The Gadar movement is more interesting, and Komagata Maro, I will explain it to you. It will be an interesting concept itself. So we take a breather here. Thereafter, why India is not praising this? We do honor these people. We do have proper memorials, and you don't know it does not mean that people don't know, but people know about them. So we will now come back. Once we come back, Shyamji Krishna Verma, Virendranath Chattopadhyay, Madanlal Dhingra, thereafter Gadar, Komagata Maro, and then after that we will go to one more manifestation which is called Home Rule League and the concept of Tilak and Annie Besant. In school we are only taught about Bhagat Singh. You are not taught about this. That is the way books are written. This is called that is revolutionary phase 2, HRA, HSRA. This is revolutionary phase 1. They are the pioneers in revolutionary activities. Okay. I leave you on this slide. We come back at 11:05 and we take the story forward. Done. Welcome back. Welcome back. Okay. Now we move to the second phase of this discussion, which is the story of revolutionaries outside India. This was Indian diasporic population going to different parts of the world, and very simply, they were trying to do something which was not possible in India itself, which is the fact that you cannot talk about a lot of things in India because of press censorship. So there's a relative freedom to criticize the British, as they're in parts of the world which the British don't control. And the biggest point is that they can spread the message of Indian nationalism and realities of India. And in this, there were three very important personalities. First is a person operating from London itself. His name, Shyamji Krishna Verma. His organization was ironically called the India House, because he used to say that I am the real India House, not the India House which exists. And his way of, very interesting way of arguing or operating was, he used to give scholarships to students who are basically revolutionaries, students who were revolutionaries, and used to bring them to London. And one such student was Madan Lal Dhingra. And he was given the task to show to the British that they were not safe in London also. So he will assassinate India House official Curzon Willie, not Lord Curzon, but a person called Curzon Willie. He was associated with the Secretary of State. And Madan Lal Dhingra, therefore, this very, very unsuspecting, very straightforward, innocent picture does not do justice to what he did in 1909, which was to kill Curzon Willie, a bureaucrat, and the assassination will be carried out by Madan Lal Dhingra, and it will be funded by Shyamji Krishna Verma. He will operate from London. He will also have a journal called Indian Sociologist. And his, as I told you, his concept was bring Indians to London as students and then hit the British here. There are two more people associated with this basic concept. One very celebrated personality, Madam Bika, and the other one, Virendranath Chattopadhyay. She was operating from Paris and Geneva, and he was operating from Berlin. These three personalities together, Virendranath Chattopadhyay, Madam Bika Kama, they were, through their different journals, spreading the message. For example, Madam Bika Kama had the Bande Matram, what we call as journal, and Virendranath Chattopadhyay had established a base in Berlin so that, for example, from India you could move to Germany, then used to move to France, and then used to could move to London. So you could move from different areas from Germany to France to England. They were now becoming a bridge. First initiative was to establish Indian sociologist paper, and at the same point of time also fund Madanlal Dhingra's travel to London itself. So these are called the revolutionaries outside India, and there's one more body which I have to discuss with you, which is called the Gadar movement. But before I do that, you have to remember Madanlal Dhingra, Shyamji Krishnaji Verma, Madam Bikaji Kama, Paris, Berlin. These are very standard things which come in the examination as match the following. If we are clear about this, then we talk about the Gadar movement and what it was, how it will spread, what is Komagata Maro, and then after what is the first Lahore conspiracy case after the what is called the Komagata Maro incident. Can we discuss this? Are we clear? Yes. Okay. So as you can see, I've divided it into three parts. We started our story with this, if you remember. We started a story with this. Now I've reached till 1912. Does anybody have any issue here? Anupali, you will not get the PDF or PF in the form of a link. There's nobody here. You will get it after it is done. Or it is already in your dashboard. You should check once. Are we clear about whatever is written till 1912? Anybody has any issue? Or you don't have an issue, whatever it may be. Can I move to this part, Gadar movement? Yes. 1899, Mitra Mela is formed by Savarkar brothers. There's nothing here. Okay, now let's talk about Gadar. Now, Gadar movement is named after a newspaper which was published, the Gadar paper, which was published in San Francisco, the USA, and it was a paper which was started by a person called Lala Hardayal. If you remember, one of the associates of Ajit Singh, and a person called Soham Singh Bhakhna. Now, no, just one. Now, Lala Hardayal and Sohan Singh Bhakhna basically started this paper to spread a message. And in the world at this point of time, see, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, most of Southeast Asia, India, South Africa, parts of Africa, and England. This is basically the zone of the English, an empire on which the sun never set. From Egypt, this was the empire which the British had established across the world, in both hemispheres and in both north and south. Gaurav, you have to go through the recorded video, which would be there if you've missed yesterday's class or today's class itself. Now, see, India is the jewel on the head of the crown of England. But Canada and Australia, New Zealand are colonies, but they're not very exploitative colonies. They are more like extensions of the English Empire because it's white on white politics or white population. India is the area in which they basically were very well established and were the most exploitative in that regard. Now, because during the First World War and before it and after it, but mostly before it, which is 1914, there's a lot of Indian soldiers, for example, Sikh soldiers coming from Punjab from here. They were traveling across the globe as the form of Royal British Army. And when they were discharged or they used to resign, they did not want to go back to India because they had seen the realities of India. They rather wanted to go back to or go to, for example, the western coast of United States or Canada. United States being the most easiest because it's not under the British itself. It's a free area. So there's a lot of expatriates, what are called expatriates, previous British employed Punjabis who are residing in USA and Canada. And the movement towards Canada was very pronounced in the sense that people were traveling between Canada via Japan quite a lot. So there was a lot of movement from the Pacific into the Canadian sector. Now, Lala Hardayal, Sohan Singh Bakhna are part of this movement who or the part of the people who have reached here. And they have two basic tasks. The first is that they try to protect the interest of the Indian peasants who are traveling towards the United States because there's conflict between India and Indian peasant and the American peasant. But more importantly, they want to make sure that these army men who are settling down in Canada and USA, they have a certain space to be there. Why Canada and why not Australia? Firstly, Australia is too far. Is actually very far. Second, Australia does not give you any employment. Australia at this point of time is more like a prison island. Most of the people who traveled to Australia were actually convicts. So Canada is much more established, much more stable, and the Canadian economy is better than Australia at this point of time. Australia is just a convict colony. So the Canadian connection comes from the fact that USA was just next to it. You could cross over into the US. It had a lot of opportunities for you in that sense. So the point was that the Gadar movement was very categorical, very categorical in making sure that the people traveling to this sector were very comfortable, very comfortable. And the Gadar movement will start as a movement as a weekly and then become a newspaper proper. First edition came on 1st November 1913, which was in Urdu. And in 9th December, the Gurumukhi edition, the language of the Punjabis, the Gurumukhi edition came in. Lala Hardayal, Sohan Singh Bakhna, Taraknath Das, and G.D. Kumar are one of the people or the people associated with the Gadar movement generally. And the fact of the matter is that they are protecting the Punjabi soldiers and the peasants who have settled down in the US. Now, this Gadar paper was very interesting for two very simple reasons. Two very simple reasons. Because it used to publish in San Francisco and then used to travel around the world. From San Francisco, it used to go to North America, Philippines, the Hong Kong sector, China, Malaya, Singapore, Trinidad, Honduras, India. Everywhere there was circulation of the Gadar newspaper. And in every newspaper front page, they used to have this title, Angrezi Raj ka Kacha Chittha or the Expose of British Rule. Basically, they wanted to show through 14 points. First 12 used to show how the British are hurting India. And the last two used to be how revolutionary action and the Gadar ki Gunj can change that. So it's a revolutionary newspaper which is extremely critical of British rule across India and across India generally. And if you remember, what was the composition of the DFF which took back Delhi? What was the composition of the DFF which took back Delhi? Which regiment was it composed of? These printings are done, some are mostly done in San Francisco, then on ship they are transported. The Punjab regiment. So the Punjab regiment or the Punjabis had this image that they were loyalists. And the Gadar tries to change the fact that the Sikh population are not loyalists of the British. They're equally critical of the British in that regard. So the Gadar movement or the Gadar itself is a very interesting movement because it is trying to change the image of the Sikh, but it is extremely critical. It is critical of British rule. And as it is critical of British rule, it will become a problem for the British very quickly. Gadar means to create chaos, to have a certain type of charge on the enemy. So the word Gadar itself means, the word is like Gadar machana. Gadar means that you create a certain type of dynamism, which is based on, and understand, is based on creating chaos in someone's life. So it was about Gadar for the British. Gadar movie is named on that only also. Now, if you understand the Gadar, between 1913 and 1914, they are just a newspaper. But something happens in 1914 which is called the Komagata Maro incident. And I want to discuss this Komagata Maro incident and tell you how the Gadar movement will transform by 1915 something as a bigger movement which was trying to do something in India. They wanted to take revenge for this incident. It's called Komagata Maro. 1913-14, operating from San Francisco, not very clear on what they want to do, but Komagata Maro is going to be problematic. Can we do that? Can we discuss the story related to Komagata Maro? Komagata Maro, breather, then Home Rule League, and thereafter Gandhi. Okay, perfect. Now see, there's a lot of movement happening from India to Canada. It is happening via Japan. And in Japan, we already know that Raj Bihari Bose is sitting there. Raj Bihari Bose, by this point of time, had become a very important member of the Gadar because what he used to do was he used to bring in this information into Southeast Asia, and that he used to bring in to India. And if somebody wanted to be part of the Gadar movement, they just had to travel to Japan, and he would then make sure that they cross over the Pacific and go to Canada. So one thing is very, very clear that the Gadar movement had now expanded, and the British could notice that there is too much movement of people across India and Canada, and that is something which the British don't want because through the US, through the Canadian sector, the whole world is getting to know what is happening in India. And that is something which they want to stop. They basically want to stop Indian immigration into Canada, and that is based on the fact that Gadar movement was becoming stronger and stronger. Stronger and stronger. It was becoming bigger and bigger, stronger and stronger. So, very simply, Indian immigration into Canada was a problem. So, in order to curb this, the British will introduce in 1905 and in 1910 two laws. And these two laws will basically be the demise of the Komagata Maro. And this will be a very dangerous thing which the Canadian authorities will introduce. And that is why Justin Trudeau had apologized for the Kamagata Maro because the Canadian authorities did it. How are these people supported financially from the money coming out of USA, from the money coming out of Japan? They were getting money out of these larger economies at this point of time. Now, the first law. The first law said, and this is Canadian immigration laws. First law said that if somebody is traveling from India, someone traveling from India, if he lands, this is only for Indians, lands in any Canadian port, that person be it here or be it here, should have $200 in his pocket. Meaning, till today, if you want to go to Canada, and Canada and America, there are certain rules that you need to have 5 lakh, 10 lakh in your account. That concept actually comes out of this, which is that $200, which is a very, very big amount, needs to be there if you are reaching Canada. Gadar movement is movement across world. Gadar magazine was aware around different continents. Yes, Gadar was Gadar was printed in San Francisco, then through ships traveling across the world itself. So this is a law which basically tries to remove a peasant. To have $200 is a very, very big thing if you are traveling to Canada. If you're traveling to Canada, so basically, if you're going from India to Canada, you should have $200 in your pocket. The people will ask you to show that $200 to you, and that is something which is very, 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 very dangerous, in the sense they're trying to make sure that poor Indians or Indians coming from the peasant background, they cannot travel to Canada. Now, this is the first law. Anybody has any issue in first law? Land in Canada as an Indian, $200 in his pocket, his or her pocket. No issues. Okay. Now, the other side of the story is that the second law said, if you are traveling from India to Canada, there are two conditions. First, the ship should not stop anywhere, meaning it should be continuous journey. And second, the ticket for the travel should be bought at place of birth. Should be bought at place of birth. Now, looking at the distance between India via Southeast Asia to Hong Kong to Japan to the other part crossing the Pacific, you think any ship can do that at this point of time? Continuous journey between India and Canada. Ships today can't do it. You're talking about 1914. And second thing is that if you are traveling between Calcutta, for example, and Vancouver, who made this rule? Canadian authorities, basically British. Now, if you are traveling between Calcutta and Vancouver, which is in Canada, the ticket should be bought where then? If it is on the base of place of birth, where should the ticket be bought? In Calcutta or in India? Anywhere in India, you have to buy it. Now, there are two issues. No direct ship is there between India and Canada, and the ships mostly operate from Hong Kong. Now that you know these two laws, can I discuss about this ship called Komagata Maru? First, $200. Second, continuous journey, and ticket should be bought in place of birth. Yes? Okay. Now there were close to 376 passengers. You will find different numbers everywhere. 376 passengers who wanted to go from Calcutta to Vancouver. Now, what happens is that there's a person called Gurdeep Singh. Gurdeep Singh is a member of the Gadar. Gurdeep Singh, he is a sympathizer of the Gadar movement. What he does is that he commissions a ship in Hong Kong. He commissions a ship in Hong Kong, and the ship is called Komagatu Maru ship. This is a Japanese ship which has been commissioned. Now the ship journey was going to be like this: Hong Kong, Yokohama in Japan, and then cross over the Atlantic and reach Vancouver. Now the point was that Gurdeep Singh said that I cannot ply a ship between Calcutta and Hong Kong. So it was the job of these 376 people to reach from Calcutta and reach it till Hong Kong. So this was the responsibility of everybody, responsibility of individual traveler, that he somehow need to reach Hong Kong. Now 376 men and women travel to Hong Kong and then travel from Hong Kong to Yokohama and then across the Pacific to Vancouver. This takes 3 months. This takes 3 months. Now you tell me, according to the laws, will this ship be allowed to deboard? Will this ship be allowed to deboard? And the answer to this question is no. Because first this ship is traveling, hopping around Hong Kong, Yokohama, Vancouver. There's no continuous journey. So it violates the first thing, which is that it is no continuous journey. No continuous journey. And the people have bought this ticket where? The people have bought this ticket where? They bought it at Hong Kong. But is the Hong Kong the birthplace of all these Indians? No. So ticket not bought at country of origin. Now what is going to happen is, as soon as this ship tries to dock in Vancouver, knowing that it had stopped at Yokohama and Raspberry Bose was involved in this, they will not allow this ship to deboard. Only two people will be allowed to come down who were Canadian citizens. Everyone else will not be allowed to deboard. 374 Indians will be asked to wait because none of them had the clearance of Canadian immigration laws. For 3 months, these people will be kept on the ship like this. And they will keep on waiting for the Canadian authorities to allow the people to deboard. This is an original picture taken at Vancouver of the Komagata Maro ship, which is this ship. This ship was waiting at the docks of Vancouver for 3 months after traveling for 3 months. And 374 Indians were asked to go back because they had violated the Canadian immigration laws. And based on that, they were asked to go back. Food was provided in a little bit quantity, and Komagata Maro ship will be asked to move back and go back the way it came. And the Komagata Maro ship is going to then travel from Vancouver back to Yokohama, from Yokohama to Hong Kong, and then back to Calcutta. And when people will reach back in Calcutta, already 10 to 15 people were dead. And further, there was a rioting type situation in which the police tried to ask too many questions from the people traveling for now 9 months. And they will have a scuffle with the police in which people will again die. This was the real face of the British when it came to the concept of the British Empire and the citizen of the empire. And the Gadar party is not going to take the Kamagata Maro incident very well. They will not take it very, very well. They will not want, they will now seek revenge. Gadar will now seek revenge for this humiliation called Kamagata Maro incident. Are we clear about what is the issue with Kamagata Maro? What is the Kamagata Maro incident? Are we clear about that? Now, the year 1914 had two incidents. First, Hardayal will be arrested, he will escape, and 376 Indian passengers will not be allowed. Now, in response to this, the Gadarites will say, after the First World War will start in 1914, by September of 1914, the First World War had started. The fact of the matter was it will start in June only, but the point was by September everything was perfect. Now what will happen is that the Gadar will say that we will now transport people from San Francisco to India, and they had planned that on 21st February 1915 they will have an armed rebellion like the 1857 in Firozpur, Lahore and Rawalpindi. For February itself, the different money lenders, different people started to get looted because the Gadarites needed money. And Kartar Singh Sarabha and Raghubar Dayal Gupta, these two people were sent to India to figure out how to make sure that this day goes well. However, somebody from the Gadar camp itself told the British that they were planning on February 21st, 1915, something very significant. And what will happen is that the British will then use an act which they had enacted, which is called Defense of India Act 1915, which is the father of the Rowlatt Act. This will be used to arrest everybody, execute everybody, and the whole Gadar movement will be swept in America also and in India also. And with the use of the Defense of India Act, what will happen is that though Rashbihari Bose was sitting in Japan, he will evade the Japanese again. He was a proper Gadarite. Most of the people will be hanged or deported under this very draconian law in which you could just arrest a person on basic suspicion. So the Gadar movement basically went through three phases. 1913 to 1914, they are just a newspaper. Thereafter, 1914 to 1915, February, they wanted to now have an armed rebellion in India. 21st February was chosen for that. The concept of this is called the Lahore Conspiracy. Lahore Conspiracy, first Lahore Conspiracy, second Lahore Conspiracy is Bhagat Singh. And between 1915, 14 and 15 end, the Defense of India Act will be used to destroy the Gadar. So since the morning, I have told you two stories, which you can see here, the two stories of revolutionary activities in India. First is the Indian part. This is the other part. Now, if this makes sense to you, we can close this topic, then talk about Gandhi, then rather we'll talk about Home Rule League, and then Gandhi, and thereafter go into the most interesting phase, which is advent of Gandhi, South African experience, and the concept of Champaran, Kheda, Ahmedabad. Are we clear about this timeline? Lucknow Pact and all, I will discuss with you. Lucknow Pact and the concept of Home Rule League, I will discuss with you. Don't worry. Gadar, Kamagata Maro, first Lahore conspiracy case is nothing but 21st February 1915, planned rebellion in Lahore, Rawalpindi, and Firozpur. Canada was the British colony, then why British didn't directly make laws to stop Gadarite activities? Because Canada was ruled in a way of a protectorate. So they did a drama of freedom. Journalism, armed rebellion, Gadar crust. Yes, perfect. The second movement, Gadar, is more affected than the first one. Yes, because Parshuram, initially it was just about writing a newspaper. 1914, it's just a newspaper. 1415, it's trying to do something in India, wherein they're sending people, but that will be, as always, treachery will be there, and they will be sold off. In the exam, they can ask you about Gadar, Komagatamaro, and why the Komagatamaro happened, and the importance of the Gadar in the larger movement. This is called revolutionary activities phase 1. Are we all clear about this? All clear? Yes? So this I can guarantee to you will not find in one book. This will be quite scattered around. I've tried to create a certain sequence, which is Gadar revolutionaries in India, revolutionaries abroad, Gadar movement, and thereafter the crush. So Yugantar and Anushilon will be crushed by 1908. Mitra Mela Abhinav Bharat will be then crushed by 1909. 1915, Gadar movement will be crushed. And I will tell you, there is a connection between the Gadar movement and the Defense of India Act and Rowlatt Satyagraha. So we'll be back at that moment again. The Defense of India Act 1915 will be used very quickly to destroy all revolutionaries in India. You can expect a question from prelims and mains both. First will be what is the purpose of the Gadar movement. I'll give you questions. I'll do previous year questions also with you. I just want you to tell me that this descriptive part is clear. Yes? Okay. So we take a breather and we then move forward. This time, every 1 hour we are taking a breather, but that doesn't matter. I want you fresh in every section. The point is now I will go into Home Rule League and Lucknow Pact and complete that story, and we will go back and then talk about Gandhi. Right? Done? I leave you on this slide. You can see it, and we'll come back at 11:55 and then take the story forward. Perfect. Gadar, Kamagatamaro, Defense of India Act, the concept of the armed rebellion, somebody does treachery, everybody gets arrested. Puja. Right? Okay. See you. Okay, welcome back. Okay. Can we start again? Can we start again? Now you can see the two stories have converged together. The two stories converged together in 1907, wherein, if you remember, I had been discussing with you the story of the 1905, 1906, rather, we started at 1904, 1904, 1905, 1906, 1907, and this period from 1903, 1903, and 1904, if you remember, was the story of Swadeshi moderate phase, and thereafter Swadeshi Banaras session. At the same point of time, you have the Calcutta session, and then you have the Surat session. And coming from this side, what Komagata Maru? It's the name of the ship. It's a Japanese name. We have coming from this side 1899, 1904, 1906, 1902, 1902, 1904, then 1906. So we have been coming from this side also. And herein, we saw, for example, Rand, no, not Rand, Mitra Mela, the Anushilan, thereafter the concept of Abhinav Bharat, then you have Yuga Antar, and the Surat session in that regard, the Surat split. At the same point of time, we have Fuller, Fraser happening. So there are two stories which I brought to you together, which is what we call as political extremism. And the second one is called the concept of revolutionary activities, which is again a form of extremism. And this point forward, the two stories converge. The two stories converge, and they converge in such a way. They converge in such a way that that 1908, 1909, 1910, 1912, 1915, 1913. Here, the convergence, you need to understand one thing, that between this period till 1916, INC becomes inactive and efficient as moderates control it. Moderates control it. And at the same point of time, we are seeing that there are stories which are going together. For example, we have Kingsford here. Kingsford here. You have Jackson. You have Harding. You have this period of revolutionaries abroad. You have Gadar. Now, whilst all of this is happening, this 1915 to 1916 period is significant because two more things will happen together. Two more things will happen together. And this is called the period of the Home Rule League. Home Rule League. And 1916 is the year of the Lucknow Pact. Lucknow Pact. Now we need to see what is this. But I hope that you are understanding how these two stories are coming together. After the expelling of the extremists, INC becomes inactive, ineffective, and it is now revolutionaries who are basically controlling everything and acting upon it. So the INC will realize something by 1916, but in between that, 1915, 16, 17, 18, there's one body which comes into existence which is called Home Rule League, and Home Rule League thereafter will be quite significant in taking that gap of the INC out, and the INC itself will realize something by 1916. Are we clear about that? Are we clear about this? Because I'm again trying to create a certain mind map in your mind when these two things come together. Now, Home Rule League is the brainchild which starts in 1915, becomes proper by 1916, and between 1916 and 1919 will be like the alternative to the INC. The idea comes from a person called Annie Besant. She was in India since 1896 as a member of a society called the Theosophic Society. Theosophic Society is one of the socialist reform movement. Oclot and Blasvasti or Blavasti. These are two people who will come up. Annie Besant is a Irish. She's an Irish woman who's in India under the in Madras at this point of time under the Theosophical Society, and she will become very active by 1915. And the brainchild or the idea of Annie Besant was taken to Bal Gangadhar Tilak, who at this point of time was sitting outside the INC, not part of INC. And Annie Besant comes up with this idea called Home Rule League based on the concept of Irish Home Rule League movement. What do I mean by Irish Home Rule League movement? Irish Home Rule League movement, as you know that England has a small island off the north of it. It is called Ireland. And Ireland was colonized by England. So there is a movement which has now led to the division into Northern Ireland and Ireland controlled by England. And there's a freedom struggle which is happening in Ireland against English. And the Irish Home Rule League movement, home rule means self rule. In a way, it is like Swaraj they are asking for. And Annie Besant proposed this to Bal Gangadhar Tilak, that why can't we also have something like this in India? In India. And therefore, in 1915, over three issues, the Home Rule League movement will start. It will be Annie Besant's idea itself, but the first was criticism of the INC. It is not an all over, or rather, it's just a 3 day nationalist event which happens every December every year. And what we need is a need for an all India, all year long body for nationalism. Yes, the date is 1916 only. I am talking about the initial year. 1916 will be the formation. I am talking about the period of conception. Conception, this is the period of conception. It will come up in 1916 only. So, 1915, they're thinking about it. The second criticism was the Surat split itself. INC was dominated by the moderates. And the third thing was that need for Swaraj and self-rule based on Irish Home Rule League. Now, Bal Gangadhar Tilak proposed that Annie Besant should be the main president of this Home Rule League movement, as she is the one who conceived it. But people had a major issue with that. As it is, in India, we don't trust a white man, and we don't even trust even more a white woman. And therefore, the concept was very simple. Annie Besant was not trusted by everyone. And that is why in 1916, when the Home Rule League movement will be formed, or when the Home Rule League will be formed, two Home Rule Leagues will come. One will be Home Rule, what is called Tilak's Home Rule League, which will operate in Central India, Karnataka, Belgaum, Pune, Maharashtra, other than Bombay City. While on the other hand, we will have what is called as the All India Home Rule League. This will be under Annie Besant, and this will be everywhere other than Tilak's League. Theosophical Society is not a Christian, it's a concept of universal brotherhood. They don't believe in Christianity. It's a more syncretic, open-ended, atheistic society type. So you can see that even when it came to Home Rule League, two were created. And this, in a way, it's not a division. It's not a division. It's just a partnership. The people who did not want to go with Annie Besant remained with Tilak, and the people who wanted to did not, or rather, all India presence was given to Annie Besant's concept of All India Home Rule League. So you can see that the weakness lies in the beginning itself. And that is why after this period, 1917 to 1918, they will remain effective. They will do a lot of good things, but they will have no real impact in that regard because they were too divided over the basic issue itself. So when I talk about the Home Rule League, now I'm repeating it through the PPT, it will reinforce what I've said. A section of the nationalists felt that popular pressure was needed. As it is, the moderates got disillusioned by the Morley-Minto reforms. Separate electorates had been introduced. People were also feeling the burden of wartime misery, which is called the First World War impact on India itself. And Annie Besant, a Irish theosophist based in India since 1896, had decided to enlarge the sphere of her activities, including building a movement for Home Rule Leagues on the lines of Irish Home Rule League. Now, the Home Rule League movement was a response to the First World War in a very less charged way, but you will see one very interesting opportunist in this list. Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Annie Besant, Kapadre, Jinnah. Jinnah right now was simultaneously the part of three organizations. The Home Rule League also, the INC also, and the Muslim League also. He was just trying to figure out where he can become something or something where he would get power. Here again, Bal Gangadhar Tilak did not like Jinnah's presence, but he's everywhere. You will see that when Gandhi will go to Champaran, he will still be there. The fact was that he was an opportunist looking for power. Now, their idea was that we need a national alliance that would work throughout the year, unlike the Congress, which had annual sessions, with the demand of self-government home rule for all of India. Now you see, their Swaraj was within British Empire. But an empire word was always used as Commonwealth. That was a sweet way of saying that we have an empire. Commonwealth, never, ever get fooled by this word Commonwealth. Commonwealth is basically empire. It's a sanitized way of calling the British Empire one whole sector. Commonwealth. It is not the commonwealth of anybody. It's the wealth of the crown. But again, you can see that their ideas are not of complete independence. Their ideas are still not of complete independence. It is just based on the ideas of independence, on the concept of getting partial independence. So, All India Home Rule League was now going to make an alliance with the Irish Home Rule League. But whilst the Irish Home Rule were very clear that they want freedom from the English, we were still talking about Home Rule League within British Commonwealth. Now, because nobody trusted Annie Besant too much, Bal Gangadhar Tilak and Annie Besant will try to come up with two different solutions. Tilak will set up the Home Rule League movement in 1916 April, which will operate from Belgaum and Pune and will only be restricted to Maharashtra, excluding Bombay City, Karnataka, Central Provinces, and Berar. On the other hand, there will be only six branches which will talk about Swaraj, education, and vernacular. On the other hand, Annie Besant will come up with her own. She had a newspaper called New India and Commonweal. These are the two newspapers. Remember, newspapers of Annie Besant, very, very important. And she will be the one who will set up the All India Home Rule League in September of 1916. And it will operate from Madras, Chennai, and cover rest of India, including Bombay City. 200 branches were there, and very big as compared to Tilak's Home Rule League. And George Arundale will be the secretary, along with B.W. Wadia and C.P.R. Iyer, who will help Annie Besant in operating Home Rule. However, when we talk about the Home Rule, nothing really. Home Rule League will just operate between 1916 to 1919. They were waiting for something to happen, and that something is going to be Gandhi, who will basically eat up the Home Rule League and destroy. They will create a base. A base was created of mass movement, which was created by the Home Rule League, but they were never effective. And as it is, their ideas are not fully aligned with the larger vision of India. Now, one more very interesting thing is 1916, when Home Rule League will be formed, finally Firoz Shah Mehta and Gopal Krishna Gokhale were dead. And with Gopal Krishna Gokhale and Firoz Shah Mehta dead, now the moderates will realize that there's no point fighting with the extremists. By 1916, it became very clear that INC had become useless. And under AC Majumdar as the president, who will say that divided we fall, united we move forward, all old controversies, that shoe will be forgotten. And Lucknow Pact is a very interesting convergence. Between its existence between 1906 to 1916, Muslim League also felt that it had become useless, and basically the revolutionaries had taken upon themselves to do what they wanted to do. The Lucknow Pact is finally the extremists, moderates coming together in the INC, and INC going into an alliance with the Muslim League. INC going into alliance with the Muslim League. So by 1913, though Madan Mohan Malviya will not like it, by 1916, moderates extremists rejoined. Bal Gangadhar Tilak was now part of the INC with Lala Lajpat Rai. And the same point of time, Muslim League thought that if we get aligned with the extremist, with the INC, maybe we will become relevant. So, very simply, in this module, we've in a way completed this module. In this module, we've done three things. What have we done? We yesterday established one timeline. Thereafter, we established another timeline today, and we converged them at 1907. And basically, by 1916, everybody is back to their senses. So between 1897 and 1909, the Indian revolutionaries are very, very active. Between 1913 to 1915, Ghadar movement, Indian revolutionaries are very, very active. Till 1912, they are like that. From 1913 to 1915, the revolutionaries go abroad, and that is based on Ghadar movement. Between 1906 to 1907 and 1905, INC fights, and only comes in 1916 after 9 years of inactivity. They will go into what is called as a Lucknow Pact. And at the same point of time, in between this period, between 1915 and 1919, Home Rule League will also exist. So you can see there are 4 timelines which are coming together in creating what we today call as pre-Gandhian politics. What we today call as pre-Gandhian politics. Pre-Gandhian politics is based on Lucknow Pact is INC plus Muslim League, and within the INC, extremists versus moderates. Now there will remain no differentiation after 1916. After 1916, no what we call as extremists or moderates. There is a reason for that. Because in between all of this, one rock star will come back to India. Advent of Gandhi. The superstar called Gandhi, Thalaiva, will come. And when he will come, he will basically destroy the Home Rule League also. He will also make the INC feel that if they don't come together, Muslim League, INC, Home Rule League, all will feel that they need to do something because now Gandhi is back. Or Gandhi is now in India and he has now become a superstar, will make all of them irrelevant within a year. And that is the story which we have to cover, which is the next module. Now, very simply, in all of this, in between 1909, there was also something called Morley Minto, which introduced the seeds of communalism in India through the separate electorates. Now, everything which is not written on this slide, does anybody have any issue? Because then I want to do certain previous year questions with you based on Swadeshi and all. and then I will introduce the concept. We'll take a break. After lunch, I want to do Gandhi, because the problem is if I start Gandhi and stop it, it will make no sense to you. That is the problem. I can start Gandhi right now, but for half an hour I will have to teach Gandhi, and then I would have to then come back after 1 hour. So I am in a conundrum here right now. What to do? I can start Gandhi, but then there will be a 1 hour gap, and it makes no sense. So I will do previous year questions with you. Then we can come back and start Gandhi. I leave it to you. Whatever is your call. I can start Gandhi right now also, and I can also start Gandhi after lunch break. We have this. We will do previous year questions, so we should do previous year questions because I can do it right now, and then after break we can do Gandhi questions after break. That makes more sense. Okay. After lunch Gandhi. Okay. Post lunch Gandhi. So let's then do previous year questions. Okay. This question, you don't know one name. I know that. Jogesh Chandra Chatterjee. But it does not actually need that name. Consider the following freedom fighters 2022. Birendra Kumar Ghosh, Jogesh Chandra Chatterjee, Rash Bihari Bose. Which of them were actively associated with the Gadar party? Come on. Very easy question. Even though you don't know one of the names, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. Come on. Come on, come on, come on. Gaurav. It says Gadar party. Well, this is where you are not paying attention. 16, 9, 38, 38. Now you tell me one thing. Birendra Kumar Ghosh. Which organization did I talk about? Birendra Kumar Ghosh or Bindo Ghosh? See, this is a person who's related to the HSRA. But he is actually insignificant. Doesn't really matter because you will automatically come to two options. When Birendra Kumar Ghosh or Bindo Ghosh are related to Anuchilan Samiti, then why are you marking C? Only Ras Bihari Bose is the part of Gadar movement, right? The people who have answered close to 20 to 25, who have answered Birendra Kumar Ghosh, who have answered seed, what is the logic of it? Birendra Kumar Ghosh, Bhupendra Nath Datta, Aurobindo Ghosh. Ghosh brothers, I did not talk about in the context of Gadar. Sohan Singh Bhakna, Lala Hardayal, Rash Bihari Bose, these are the people who I talked about with regards to the Gadar. So I know that you need a little bit of what we call as a basic revision. But at looking at this question, and when I will teach you HSRA, you will realize that Jogendra Chand Chatterjee is also a very known person of the HRA and HSRA. Is this question difficult? If you know basic names, I told you, just remember that one slide and your job will be done. So are we actually getting very difficult questions? They could have given any obscure name and you would have got caught. These three personalities are known. So the 38% people who answered D, you've been paying attention, you did not need the revision. But the people who have answered C, please pay attention because when I talked about Gadar movement is a revolutionaries in, now you see, it is revolutionaries in India, in outside India. Birendra Kumar Ghosh and Jogendra Chatterjee are inside India. Are we clear about C and D? 1 and 2 automatically gets rejected as it is. Are we clear? The people who have marked C, do you understand your mistake? I hope that you know that Anusilan and Yugantar are Anusilan, Mitramela and Abhinav Bharat and Gadra are different things, are not the same thing. Are we clear about this? Okay. Now, yes. With reference to the Swadeshi movement, consider the following statements. It contributed to the revival of indigenous artisan crafts and industries. The National Council for Education was established as a part of the Swadeshi movement. Now, this is a realistic question which is coming in the examination. And these are very simple questions if you see. Come on. Answer. I have taken out mains questions also. We have 2-3 very interesting questions. One from 2020. And yes, 2020 Curzon based question. Okay. Perfect. 65% of you are totally correct. A, B, D, 18, 13, 5%. Obviously, National Council for Education is formed. This we already know. As if you remember, Swadeshi. Then the second was, would Swadeshi movement, this is an application of knowledge question. Application of knowledge question. Would the Swadeshi movement allow revivalism of Indian artisans and industries, handicraft industries? This is an implied statement. Would it? Yes or no? Yes or no? Come on, this is not a difficult question. The answer is yes. Because if there will be Swadeshi, then it automatically means that it will be about Indian artisans. The people who have answered one only don't remember a fact. The people who have answered two only or neither are the more problematic one. Because they are not applying their knowledge. This is a very easy. This is a freebie question. Free question in a way. You can't get a question more easier than this. And I'll show you a question much easier than this. This one. The Swadeshi and boycott were adopted as methods of struggle for the first time during the agitation against partition of Bengal, Home Rule League movement, non-cooperation, visit of Simon Commission. Doesn't even really matter. I want 100% answer here. Who are these 12%, 12%, 7%? What are you? Either you are sleeping or you're doing it on purpose. Partition of Bengal movement is called Swadeshi movement only. This is in 1905-06. This is 1916. This is 1920-22. This is 1927. But I have not even taught you these things. And if says first time, doesn't even matter if you know the other ones or not. These 12, 12, 7%. What are you doing? Where are you? What is the issue? What is the issue? I want an answer. Because this is a Again, a free throwaway question. UPSC could not give you an easier question. The word Swadeshi is written in the question itself. What is the issue? Either you don't know, or you are not listening, or you're not paying attention. Not enough revision, sir. I taught you 1 hour back, 1 hour back about Home Rule League movement. 24 hours you cannot remember something. 24 hours. Yesterday at the same time we started with Swadeshi. It's not been properly 24 hours also. 24, 25 hours you cannot remember. These two questions and this question, not even 24 hours, 3 hours back. See, I don't know what you are doing whilst you are here with me throughout the day. But if you are actually doing it on purpose, then it's okay. Then I also understand the joke. It's very, very funny that you don't know, for example, Home Rule League and this and that. But if you are doing this not suspecting or randomly, then either you don't trust the material, or you don't trust yourself, or you are just randomly just sitting there, dead. You've just joined for joining generally. But this type of question is not coming now in UPSC. Do you know that, Ashish? You are the paper setter. What if it comes back? So you will say, no, 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 cheating, cheating, cheating ho gaya. The type of, this type of question came, so you are not able to answer this. This type of question, this okay, 1 and 2 is not coming. But then let's do one thing. Then let's not do previous year questions. Then don't ask me to do previous year questions. If previous year questions are irrelevant, then let's not do them only. And not answering this question, your justification is ye thoda aayega. So I already know that UPSC will never repeat this question. I'm trying to show you that what have they previously asked, to show you what is the pattern. So either we don't do previous year, because previous year as it is useless, because these questions will not happen again or will not come again. The justification for you not remembering over 24 hours is not that the question is useless. This question is relevant or irrelevant, doesn't matter. I asked you to use your mind. I'll do one more question and you will see you will again do it. You tell, if everybody answers not the right answer, then what are we doing here? I don't know. What was the main reason for the split in the Indian National Congress at Surat in 1907? Introduction of communism into Indian politics under Lord Minto. Extremist lack of faith in the capacity of the moderates to negotiate with the British government. Foundation of the Muslim League. Aurobindo Ghosh's inability to get elected as the president of the Indian National Congress. If I'm giving you 1 minute, I want you to feel that minute go by, and I want to see if you know the right answer or not. It's not even understanding the pattern through previous year questions. It's just that if UPSC can ask this question, they can ask any question. Okay, only 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 3 and 4 is coming. Sure, it's okay. If that is the case, we'll try to find a solution for that. But UPSC plays with you. That's not the point. The point is that can you apply what you've done over, if your weekend batch, and if half of the class is getting the answer wrong, then what is the issue? That needs to be identified. Because when I ask you, is it clear? You say, yes, sir, everything is perfect. Everything is clear. Done, done. Let's move forward. But when I'm trying to do questions with you, you are then showing me a different side altogether. Again, 12% are not listening. What are you thinking? The Indian National Congress split over the issue of Lord Minto, communal politics. When did Lord Minto introduce the Morley Minto reforms? Let's use your logic. What is the year of Morley Minto reforms? So they knew the future in 1907 itself. They knew the future in 1907. 2 years forward, what was going to happen? Now you say that this type of question doesn't come, but you are not even able to do this type of question. Now the people who are answering, either they're playing with their own life or they're just finding this funny. If you're finding it funny, great. If you're playing with your life, then you're wasting the time of the class. That's the basic point. This question, 100 out of 100 should come. If you haven't attended yesterday's class, I understand it. But that proportion will also be 3 to 4 people only. That's it. हमारे अटेम्प्ट में मुश्किल आते हैं क्वेश्चंस, so you will not answer these questions. And what if I show you 2023 questions and they were easier than this also? I've not reached those themes right now. So you are trying to say that if these questions will come difficult, I will do it. Easy questions I can't manage. Don't try to justify every action. Don't. This is all it will do by the end of the day. Montague, Chelmsford, and this data. And I want to check something. Can anybody tell me what is the answer for this? Montague Chelmsford proposal was related to. Read the question and give me the answer. For this, you don't even need to know what the thing is related to. Use your mind. Use your mind. I have not taught you Montague Chelmsford. That is the second thing we do. Separate electorates is not Montague Chelmsford. Diarchy. See, 3 and 11 to I understand. 23% I don't understand. But okay. Social reform, where have I talked about? I did socialist reform movement with you. Where did I talk about Montague and Chelmsford? Under social reform movement, did I talk about Montague, Chelmsford? Okay. Leaderboard, then we do a mains question. 5 questions asked. Pradeep, Saiti, Astha, Ankur, Deepika, Ankit, Gulam, Shreyas, Polokunda, Pooja, Nikhil Garg, Jaswant, Jayant, Parshura, Bhavna, Ravi, Urvashi, Anu, Arpita, Kamini, Ashish. It is not a, it's actually not a, in a way, surprised that everybody who's answering yes or is part of the class or is actually engaging in class is actually in the first 10 or 15. Every name which I took, I take their name in class also. So the people who are sleeping, wake up. And if you can't wake up, then I don't know what you're doing with all of this. Now, one question which came in 2016, equally interesting. The 2016 question, the 2016, 2020 question. 2020 mains question. I'll write it down for you. Or rather, I'll copy and paste it in the... Yes, 1 second. This is the question. Evaluate the policies of Lord Curzon and their long-term implications on a national movement. So Curzon politics 1899, 1904, 1905, Corporation, Calcutta Corporation, Indian universities, partition of Bengal, and official secret. Partition of Bengal. These are the things. Now, can I in the introduction say that when Curzon came to power, Indian nationalism was going through a moderate phase, but the Bengali Hindu nationalist was becoming more and more aggressive. So, body, you have to talk about his policies. That 1899, 1904, 1905, he followed the partition of Bengal and everything else related to it. Now you have to understand the implications. Partition of Bengal implication is what? One is Swadeshi, that the Swadeshi movement meant that new way of nationalism developed. But partition of Bengal is also the reason for communalism to rise. So, in a way, the implication of Curzon's politics is two. One, rise of extremism and extremist politics, Swadeshi. It is also his politics that will lead to Surat split and the formation of the Muslim League. There's a reason why I give you a timeline, because everything which happened after partition of Bengal till Morley Minto is all because of Curzon only. So from Swadeshi to communism to Surat split to the concept of Muslim League, all are implications of Curzon's politics. So is this question difficultly framed, or by the basic understanding of what we've done in class, can you answer this question? You can? So I have showed you out of whatever modules we've covered till this point, the concept of, we started yesterday with the formation of the INC. INC, thereafter there should be one question related to moderates also. I'm not able to find it. One question previously came about moderates, but maybe before 2013 itself. Dalhousie, foreigner, gender. Yeah, one question related to moderates also came. That I have it in the PPT later. I will discuss that. But the point is, it doesn't matter if it's 150 or 250. Doesn't really matter. Doesn't matter if it's 150. You write 150. It's 250. 250. The simple point I'm trying to argue is very simple point. I have done INC, formation, moderates, extremist, economic nationalism, Swadeshi, Surat split, and today we've completed everything till the advent of Gandhi. This is the question. One second, making it public. Why did the moderates fail to carry conviction with the with the nation about their proclaimed ideology, political goals by the end of 19th century? Now you tell me, what are they asking in this question? What are they asking in this question? Moderate one. They're basically asking you about the three P's: moderate, method, and failure. So you have got one question from moderate, one from Swadeshi, you got from Curzon. If you look at it, this area has given us enough questions. But the questions are extremely straightforward. This language of the question is difficult, but it's asking you, how did the moderates fail nationalism? And the reason is because of the fact that three P's and the benevolent, or the aspect that they believed in the British, which is reforming colonialism, not rejecting colonialism. So now I start a very important unit, and we go into the business end of the course. Since we've been doing a lot of descriptive, now we'll go into, once we're back from the lunch from lunch, we'll discuss at the advent of Gandhi, Rowlatt, Jallianwala Bagh, non-cooperation, very, very important modules, along with a very important discussion on Montague Chelmsford reforms, which we have to discuss. Can we take a break? And the trend only shows me that 70 or 80% of you are actually awake here. And if you all who are awake can tell me that till this point, whatever I've taught makes sense to you, we'll move forward and then come back and talk about Gandhi. Yes? Done? Okay. So I will see you at 2 p.m. now. In case we forget, only write partition of Bengal. Yes, that will also Priya make sense. But you have to talk about communalism for sure. Okay. I will see you at 2 now. Join from part B. This session is over. Thank you. Take care and bye bye.